Get this camera situated here. Just getting everything set up and going. We've got music. We've got a microphone, probably one of the most important things. All right. Hey, Jeep and Jamber, how you doing? That looks good right there. So I've got this dice bag I was working on last night. I was putting in some expansions on it, and it was not going to sit the way I wanted it to. So I tore it apart and I added this. Let me zoom in on overhead. For those of you watching on mainstream platforms, let me focus this for you. And you can see this strip of elf weave I added in here. And that is to make the top more rigid. Right in there. Focus that a little bit more. Oh, and I can turn on the ring light and get a little bit more light in here. Everyone see that? All right. So now what I've got to do is reconnect these pieces right here. So, let's get started. Just finished making dinner and pulled the fresh print off the printer. Nice. I'm doing okay. Had a heck of a day getting this all figured out. And where do I want to split this, actually? These are the two. Right there is where I want to connect them. Okay. They're all flowing that way. We're just going to be taking this apart. I spent all day tearing this apart and putting it back together, so that's how my day went pretty much. So I got done working on it last night and then basically came down here, took it apart and tried putting it back together. Wow, where'd that ring went is gone. Now that I'm here, I just finished up the top half of this just before I started streaming. So I got that done, made a quick video, hopped on live. My son's on his way to bed, and now we're going to finish putting this together. If I can... Okay, maybe my son isn't on his way to bed. I just heard him stomping around upstairs. And I know for anyone just popping in, right? I know it doesn't look like much, right? But it will look like something cool by the time it's all said and done. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So what did you print, Cheap and Jamber, if you don't mind me asking? What kind of printer are you using? I was looking at equipment today, and there is a tabletop water jet piece of manufacturing equipment that's small enough to fit down here in the basement. Only problem is it's $10,000. Seemed a bit excessive to me. So my understanding is that there's not a lot of demand for water cutters, water jets, as CNC has pretty much dominated that industry. But I did find it cool that they do exist, and if one day price is no option, I will probably pick one up. And the reason I was looking is because I'm looking for I need a setup that can cut chainmail rings for me, and I'm not really sold on anything that's in the market right now. There's some stuff out there, but the print was a piece of the Hylian shield. Nice. Glad to hear you're working on that. That's going to be cool. I'm just making sure I separate this the right row. Am I looking to cut solid rings? No. Not at the moment. I'm looking to cut regular jump rings. It's like I want a ringinator setup, but I don't want a ringinator. I'm not convinced that it's the way to go. And so I was looking up lasers and water jets, and like I said, the water jet was 10 grand. So yes, it's tabletop. Yeah, I could set it up down here, but it's a bit out of my price range at the moment, so I'm not going to live in a world of pretend. I posted a clip of printing on TikTok. Nice. How would a water jet help with that? Because it gives a cleaner cut than the blade. So it has a thinner kerf, or is able to have a thinner kerf with less burring and problems than a saw blade, is my understanding. Don't take my word for it. I am not an expert. So if you use the water jet to cut the rings, as opposed to saw blade, you should be getting a thinner, more precise cut. Why does Jet keep correcting to net? I don't know. Autocorrect is weird. It often changes perfectly good words that are in the common lexicon that I use frequently to random wrong words. Are we still on this EDM? Pretzel rocks, turn up music. Trending labels, funny sounds. Where's like rock and roll? Sorry, I'm picking out the music right now. Why is that locked? Okay. I guess I'm stuck with something else. That's good enough. Yeah, I pretty much spent the whole day down here. I did get upstairs and cook dinner, so I wasn't a bum the whole day. If anyone's watching on TikTok, can you hear the music? What else we got? Other ways to cut rings would be like a laser, a whole different type of saw setup. Right, there's hundreds of ideas out there that people have on what's the best way to cut jump rings. And oh, okay, my eyeball has something in it, probably a piece of metal. That's okay. You did some cleaning, checked on your prints, and worked your mail today. There you go. How's your shirt coming along? All right. That's a problem. Hang on. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Did I cut these off at the wrong point? I might have. Ow, my eyeballs. Music is much more clear on TikTok. Alright, well, something's working. Did I do that to all of these? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. What about this one? Three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this one looks correct. This one looks correct. Okay. Shirt is going good. Working on your second sleeve. There you go. I haven't heard anything about the seasoning a mild steel shirt. I think it's a cool idea. But we built out 2 more layers in Jelly Cube and started to enjoy the feel of it. Very nice. What's up, friends? The main shirt is done. Pretty much a sleeveless shirt. I've got one of those. What's up, friends? How are you doing tonight? Yeah, when you start getting to the feel of the Jelly Cube, you're like, oh, cool. You're doing good. I'm doing all right. Been down here working on this all day for the most part. Tearing apart the top half, and now we're trying to reconnect the bottom. I think when I attached this, I screwed this up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, that's why. So what to do? Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 4, 6, 7, 9. Just make that the new row. I think is what we'll do. Or try to do. So I tore apart this, added the top of this dice bag, and then added this strip of elf weave to it to try and keep it rigid, right? So it's going to close up and kind of hold itself in place. Now I got to figure out where all these go. This is all guessing. We're going to attach them and then make adjustments as needed. Are those nice pliers? You see other chainmail creators using them? These are Xuron 483s. I like them. A lot of people use them. Xuron's got a nice selection of pliers to choose from. You look at the shape of the nose of the pliers and go with the ones you want. These are good for like 18 gauge and lower. .18 gauge and smaller. I don't know, it doesn't make sense to say 18 gauge and higher because it sounds like you're getting bigger, but the opposite is in fact true. You won't try seasoning it until you finish the shirt, then you'll make Chuck to test it on? Okay, probably a 5x5 piece. There you go. Dude, do test it, and then tell me how it goes, because that's, like I've said before, I have never heard that being a solution to the problem. It sounds like it'll work. Yeah. And yeah, mine on the cube, I'm making it a little bit wider than the outer diameter of the ring you're using. Is that good or bad? It sounds like that's bad. Or making things difficult. Let's see here. Google hasn't gotten back to me, but if you go to my link tree, there is a link to the Mailworks app, and if you download the app, there's a section on tools that has a few recommendations of Zurons. I need to add some more stuff in there in that section, but the Zurons are a solid pair of pliers to add to your collection. I have lots of pliers. Wubbers and Zurons, they don't really disappoint. I think they're like 15 or 20 bucks a pair, maybe $10 a pair. I don't remember off the top of my head. They're not as precise as you'd like. Yeah, I would. I mean, I'd get a pair just to have. I need to get more just to have. Come on. Now we're going to check this real quick because got to make sure it's still going to expand, and it looks correct. Yeah, I think we're doing something right. That looks correct to me. Yeah, I've got these like hardware store. I think these are actually, what's the Lowe's brand of pliers? These don't have a brand name on them. I have a bunch of different ones of these. Oh, what is the brand? Anyway, it doesn't matter, right? So I have these, and I use them primarily with this pair of Wubbers here. And you can't go wrong with the Wubbers. They're very expensive, though, right? I need to smooth out the jaws of these because they're kind of, they should be meeting up precisely, and they're a little dull. Mallet shared the live video. Thank you, Mallet. Appreciate you. These ones too. Need to sand that down, but they're still pretty good for 99% of what I use. Wubbers are good. And then these Zurons. And then I have run-of-the-mill pliers. I think I have some lineman's pliers around here somewhere. But there's always a opportunity to use almost any pair of pliers, right? A situation will come up where you just need this random odd-shaped plier, and it's wonderful to go, oh, I have that. Just try to do that under overgrip you're working with. It doesn't work for me. It hurts your wrist. Maybe if you had short pliers. Cobalt. Cobalt is Lowe's brand, yeah. That's what I was trying to think of. Alright, where are we at here? I'm pretty sure that's the brand of those pliers. I'm not 100%, but want to get these expansions back on and then get the expansions done all the way around and sewn up by the end of tonight. That's my goal. There's all kinds of other projects I want to work on, and taking all day to work on this one project is kind of irritating. I want to get caught back up to where we were last night so that we can move forward without issue. Alright. Oh, and if you do happen to go download the Mailworks app in the link tree and Google doesn't let you, it's just because your phone is new and the code for the Mailworks app has been updated, and I'm waiting on Google to reapprove it. But if you have an old phone like me, it still works. And there's a bunch of tool recommendations in there and tutorials and all kinds of fun stuff to help new and veteran mailers just have a bunch of resources in one place. I want to expand on it some more, and I've talked about this before. Setting it up so that you can upload a picture to it and it'll pop out an inlay pattern for you. But I don't know if I'll make a separate app for that or if I'll include it in the Mailworks app. We'll see. We'll see what happens. A lot of improvements can be made. What about him?
Is that down here?
No, not as far as I know. Start throwing his stuff away. He'll show up. My son is apparently hiding. You're at a point where you had a couple hundred rings. It doesn't look like anything's happened. Yeah. Yep. I know those feelings. Okay, are we... This once again looks correct. We'll really find out when it when it comes time to sew everything up. We'll find out if we were right. So many projects where you can work on it all day, and by the time you're done, it's like, did I really do anything? And you have to believe that you did, so that you come back to the project and continue to work on it, right? And then you keep doing that, and then eventually the project gets finished. I promise. It does take a certain amount of tenacity to get through those larger projects. You know, when anything above 10,000 rings, once you start weaving that many rings, it's like there's just like a wall you hit, you know? And on several projects that I have, many that I finished on live stream, they sat around for years before I had the maturity to be able to just push past that mental blockage and get them done. What I was going to say, as far as the reverse grip I'm using in my left hand, I did not learn from someone else, and so this was just how I started weaving rings that felt comfortable to me. Definitely don't do it if it hurts your wrists. Oh, my son might have to get beaten tonight. He is running around like crazy upstairs. He pulled the whole, I'm sick this morning. I don't feel good. It's like, buddy, you just had 4 days off. You need to go to school. But he looked at his mom and gave her the doe eyes, and she's like, oh, just, he can stay home. It's fine. She didn't realize that I spend most mornings fighting with him to get him up to go to school. I don't ever pay attention to whether or not he feels good. It's like, are you running? I am a medical professional. I have a degree and everything. And when I look at my kid and say, you are not sick, I know what I'm talking about. I am an RN with a license. And so it's like, if you're not running a fever or violently projectile vomiting, you're going to school. I don't care. Dad doesn't play that. Okay. So we need, should be 2 more. Let's count the rings and see if we got here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I think we're right on the money. Take this ring out. And what we'll do, so we'll take this now scrap piece and we'll kind of cut it down into a piece that we can use. And then 2 more of these, and then we'll start sewing up the expansions and seeing how it lays. Should have a nice little cap on top of the expansions where I put that elf weave in to make it more rigid and hold it in place. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Come on. Alright, so here's a fun game. Find the opening in the ring. There it is. That's how you can tell if it's a good closure or not. If you can't find the closure, it's a good closure. It's usually pretty easy. I'm not making jewelry here. I'm not going for super precise closures. Just good enough at the moment. But even still, I'm quite practiced at doing this, so the closures are still pretty good, I think, in my opinion. Vivek, Anna Marie, what's up? How you doing? Just making some chainmail. Working on a dice bag. Trying to use up some of the rings in my basement so that I can work on new, fancier projects. You're doing good? I'm doing alright. Can't complain. Spent the day tearing this apart. Now I'm putting it back together. And hopefully the changes I made will just make it that much more of a unique dice bag. And then we'll tumble it, clean it, etch it, and anodize it. And it should be a pretty good one-off. If I had a different ring size, I only have this one size in titanium, right? And so if I had a different ring size, I would... Oh, I'm back, Anna Marie. You need to go. Have a nice life. Am I looking to spice up my branding? No. My branding is fine. You're not even a real person. It's always so funny when... What are they? They bots? Or you went to military mode and clearing the house room by room? What a stinker. Oh, my child is... He will, he likes to hide. He's small enough still that, like, you think you've checked a place, but if you don't look thoroughly, there's a good chance that you missed where he's hiding. Alright, where am I at here? There we go. You get those on Instagram? I do too. I don't like Instagram. But I get those a lot, and it's like... I'm not giving you money to advertise my product. Like, that's never gonna happen. Because if I, who knows more... If I, who has forgotten more about chainmail than most people will ever know, right? And that's not saying I know a lot. It's just, this is what I do, right? If I wasn't able to sell my stuff, what makes other people think they could sell it? Right? It's like, you are out of your mind. No. Come on. CC Rooks, C Crooks 85. Thank you for the follow. I think this ring goes over here, I think. I could be wrong. Let me check the other side here. What row? I can't figure. Oh, now I lost the ring. What's going on here? No, it doesn't go there. Okay. Weird. I'm seeing things. Been staring at rings for too long today. Oh, thank you for the rose. Yeah, I'm not gonna trust someone else to try and sell chainmail products, right? It's like try to tell an advertiser, yeah, do you know what Behurt is? It's where these people dress up in medieval armor and beat the ever-loving crap out of each other. Right? They like chainmail. Have to explain to a advertising agency what the Society of Creative Anachronism is. And the Society of Creative Anachronism is a reenactment group that tries to adhere to as realistic skills and trades in history as possible. So they're going to make something, they're going to make it using what people used back when those items were made. Like if you're going to make a broom, they're going to make a broom how it was made 500 years ago or whatever, right? I don't know if you can advertise to those people, but if you can, you know, they're looking for authenticity. We're LARPing. Alright, you was born as the SAN nut. You love the game? Yeah. People that go, having to explain to an advertising agency what a Renaissance festival is. Will there be a test on this? Do you need to take notes? No. The head of the advertising agency asks you, what's a corset? SCA is why you make mail. If I had known what the SCA was, and I'm sure there's a chapter in where I grew up, but I didn't know what it was till I was old. How do you avoid grip marks on your chain? Started one recently. So these are toothless pliers. See if I can get a good view in there for you. That's how, right? If I use these, I would definitely leave marks on the rings. Also, this is titanium and difficult to mark up. So if you're using stainless steel or not stainless steel, if you're using brass, bronze, aluminum, something like that, you're using galvanized. How far along are you? Toothless. Those other ones are what I use. Yeah, okay. This is... okay. I have used galvanized. I did not enjoy the outcome. If you're using galvanized, okay, do you 2x6, not far? Okay. I'm just going to tell you a story. I have a galvanized shirt. I have multiple stainless steel shirts in my house on stands that are like decorative. The galvanized steel shirt is in a bin out in my shed. And that's because it stinks. So if you have the opportunity to use, if you're just practicing, by all means use galvanized for whatever you want, right? That's all you have on hand. Meh, make whatever you want. If you have the capability of using any other type of material almost, I would, if it were me. Can it be heat treated once assembled for added resistance? So what I'm working with right now is titanium, and it's already brittle enough. Any more hardening would be problematic. With chainmail in general, you want it to be soft, because if you harden it, you're going to get you're going to embrittle the rings, and so if they're ever struck with something hard, it will shatter the ring. I mean, if you're just making something for display, then yeah, you can heat treat it, but oh, my back. Ugh. Ren wax coat it. It will remove the smell of oxidizing. I don't know what Ren wax is, but John, I trust your opinion. Okay. Thanks. Making your own rings with drill, dowel, and wire. I have done that. And I made a lot of rings, and they were really crappy. So I want people to avoid the mistakes that I'm making or I have made. I don't want to tell people what to do. You can do whatever your heart desires, right? But also know that after having made a galvanized steel shirt, it was low quality, it stinks, and it's not allowed in my house. And even if I covered it in Ren wax, I wouldn't allow it in my house. So I carry it around like a labor of shame. Ductility over pure rigidity. That makes sense. That's my understanding. If you want something that is not hardened, but more tougher than, say, your regular stainless steel rings that you can order from, say, the Ring Lord or something, right? I would go with spring steel, and that's gonna do a pretty good job covering all your bases. You thought you were talking to me when you said I trust your opinion? Oh, your name's John as well? There is a John, my friend John on Facebook, watching right now, hanging out. He and I have had many discussions on different aspects of chainmail, and he's a very knowledgeable guy. Like, I do have one piece of galvanized chainmail in the house, and it's fine. It's not the end of the world, right? But I wouldn't do it again. It was, and maybe that's just me, right? So I finished the shirt while I was deployed, and when I got back, I ordered some rings from the Ring Lord to make another shirt, and that one with the rings, the one that I made with the rings I had ordered was far superior to the shirt I had, where I had hand cut the rings and woven them all together while over in Iraq, right? Makes you wonder what long lost steel recipes ancient mail workers came up with. Spring steel is the hardest of all metals and stronger than even titanium, but it rusts. I don't know if ancient metal workers had anything compared to what we have today. Right, there's so many alloys that we've identified and come up with today. For all kinds of different applications. So if you go back to the Etruscan period, where that's where chainmail started, right? So chainmail started around Tuscany, Italy. And seemingly was given to the Celts. And then the Celts brought it to the rest of the known world, the Romans and everyone. And then from there, spread throughout the Arab world and India, Asia, and Japan, China and Japan. Galvanized steel is armor. It's a Sunday bike ramp. It's not a masterpiece. It's to get something functional for dirt cheap. Yeah, $40 for a 30-pound spool of electric fence wire versus $600 for stainless. We are Star Trek 1 level tech and space age metals today. Nice. That's a good way to look at it. So where was I? Yeah, so starting with the Etruscans and the Celts up through the Romans, most of what they worked with was iron. I don't know when the first steel chainmail piece came about. I will have to investigate that. But there are some interesting alloys that have come out of history. I think what would be really cool is to do some laminate steel rings, with rings that are large enough to where you can see the laminate, where you could etch it and actually see a Damascus pattern on it. Oh, where are we at? You know we were making steel by the Battle of Agincourt? Okay. Do you know what year that occurred? Alright, just trying to make this last expansion here. That would be, yeah, that would be pretty cool. Like there's, okay, so what I'm working with is titanium. Titanium can be anodized, right? And it's pretty cool when you do it. But the reality is that anodization is not permanent. It can come off, right? So if you were to take a large ring made from laminated steels and etch it so that you could see the pattern, that would be far more permanent than any anodization, right? You're still going to have to oil it and keep it from rusting. I know that much, but why are you not seeing other comments? Because I am not only on TikTok. I am currently streaming to 3 other platforms right now. So if you go to any of the platforms where people usually stream stuff and look up the same username, you'll find me there with a different camera angle. I'm not a crazy person just talking to myself, I promise, James. So I use my phone to stream to TikTok until I hit 10,000 followers, and then I'll be able to I'll get a stream key, and then I can just stream the same thing to everyone, and everyone should be able to see all the comments and all that fun stuff. Ah, cool. Thought you were missing something. Nope, just how I have it set up is a little awkward on TikTok right now. But making videos and trying to get trying to get to 10,000 followers, so that I can get a stream key so that I can go live, and using third-party software or TikTok Live Studio. But not there yet. About 8,700 people to go, 8,600, something like that. All right. You'll get there, man. It's a unique stream for sure. Thank you. Agent Core was 1415. Okay, so that's what, 1,200 years after chainmail started popping up? I don't know where the opening to this is. There it is. Yeah, so this is my understanding. I'm not a historian, right? So don't take everything I say with a grain of salt, right? This is just my understanding of what I've read over the years, stumbling across writings of other people, right? It's like the main reason we don't see a lot of really old chainmail pieces is because they were made of iron, and they were made of iron for a very long time. I think that so one of the oldest what do you call it, examples of chainmail, it was like found in Ireland, and it's around some soldier's skull, right? It's cool. And I think it's iron. You can correct me if I'm wrong. You don't think you could ever stream showing yourself at least? Right. Okay, where are we at here? Have you done your 7-day stream key trial? If you do, they might grant you early access. If it's a hit. Really? Right. They all turned back into mineral dirt. Exactly. Was a large French versus English war in the mud with surviving documents, war notes, battle costs, and such. Oh, the Agent Court? Yeah. I will try the 7-day stream key trial. That would be amazing. That's a promising suggestion. Thank you, James. That way I don't have multiple camera setups taking up my workspace here. Alright. That isn't quite where I go. Where are we at here? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, man, keep swiping right on options for live. Okay. Yes, thank you very much. If that works, that would be very helpful. Because it is a unique stream, and I'm not the coolest streamer, but you know, I do make cool stuff and introduce this cool topic to other people. But the one guy that I knew who did this, that he was doing a long time before I ever started. Very entertaining man. And did a lot more than just chainmail. Very knowledgeable guy. Haven't seen hide nor hair from him in quite some time, so not that I can't stream and he can't stream at the same time or anything, but I wish he still streamed, because you learn a lot. And but now it's up to me to spread the good word of the Church of Chainmail. And convince everyone that opening and closing thousands of rings to make beautiful stuff is highly worthwhile. The bar for being among the coolest streamers is surprisingly not as high as expected. I agree. I've seen some other people's streams. Alright. No, I think like I have a pretty decent setup at this point. On the main channels, I've got 2 cameras. I want 2 more. I have plans for the future for my streaming setup, but as of right now, we're just working with what we got. It's a huge improvement over when I first started streaming. Is chainmail a religion now? I did not know that. Sign me up. It definitely takes a certain amount of faith to believe that you're going to go ahead and open and close a few 100,000 rings, maybe a few million in your lifetime, and have it all, you know, turn out to be a productive, valuable way to spend your time. All right. You know, I mean, it's the Church of Chainmail. I'm the Bishop of Bending. I had a whole list of these. The Bishop of Bending. I'd have to look at my freaking list. Got a bunch of church positions in there. Corresponding monikers. I wonder if the creators of Sonic the Hedgehog was a mail worker. So if you don't have any rings lying around, just hit Sonic. That is one of the few movies that I've seen lately that I thought was really good. Oh, okay. Gotta stretch. See if I did this right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. You prefer knitting with metal? I've got a shirt on my website that says, if it's not real chainmail, I'm making, what is it, combat crochet? And I spent a while coming up with that. It was if I'm not making real chainmail, what am I making? Medieval macrame. Or if I'm not making real chainmail, what am I making? Is it night knitting? Like Knight? The cardinal of circumference. Yeah, it was things like that. I got a whole list of them somewhere when I was going through my t-shirt ideas. The Abbott of aspect ratios, that was one of them. I don't remember. They're on my phone, and I can't look because it'll kick me out of streaming. Okay, so if I had not, you see how, I guess you probably can't tell much on the camera, right? But the center of this piece is holding itself up pretty well, right? That was the whole point of me tearing it apart today and then putting it back together. Just add that strip of elf weave in there, tighten it up, make it rigid, have it hold itself in place, and then the rabbi of radials, yeah. The ringleader, frequent plier flyer, like that. Thank you for your brilliant ideas, people. I'm going to steal them and take credit for them. Oh, and claim they were my own. Is that how it goes? I think it's an Alec Baldwin movie line. Go ahead and forward all your ideas to me. Go ahead and forward all your good ideas to me, and I will use them and take credit for them. Claim them as my own. By all means, you're honored. Thank you. I think it's The Departed. Is it when he says that? Was Alec Baldwin in The Departed? Yeah. Okay. Lay that flat so people can see what we're dealing with. This is the top. These are the expansions. We're up to what? 5 inches? 4.5? And then we're going to go down, and then we'll put in some more contractions like we have up here to close out the bottom. Right? But, yeah, that... See if I can lay this out nicely. Let's see here. Okay. Doesn't quite want to stay up, but it's close enough, right? There. Plagiarize, but always call it research. There you go. So there are some contractions in the center here that will close up quite nicely, and this should sit like a cap on top of these the rest of the dice bag, right? So we're going to sew up these expansions. And that gives us more of a sphere shape rather than, or it should, in my head, will give us more of a sphere shape than it will your standard dice bag shape that you see. Right? Now, as I was saying earlier, if I had 2 different ring sizes of titanium rings, I would use a different weave to seam these up. Right? Because that's a fun way to do things and make it look cool. But I only have the one ring size that I'm working with. In fact, for these contractions up top, these triangles up here, I need 6 18 gauge 7/32 titanium rings to go along with it. I should be able to find those. Someone should be able to sell me those. But let's see if I can sew these up without too much problems. So these rings have come a long way from being something that could not be used to at least somewhat usable. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, machines can't replicate mail just like they can't replicate crochet. There's plenty of examples of machine-made chainmail. So there's a company called Mailtech that does the welded European 4-in-1 for the Neptunic chainmail shark suits. I did a video on that a while back, which you can go watch, but also you can just Google Neptunic shark suit, right? So Mailtech up in Canada does all the chainmail, and then Neptunic takes it and customizes it to their suits. There is plenty, well, I have seen machine-made Byzantine, and I have seen machine-made full Persian. But that's it, right? Those are the 3 weaves that I've seen that have been machine-made. Euro 4-in-1, Byzantine, and full Persian. There could be others out there, I don't know. But it's coming, right? The progression of technology is not going to stop. Someone figured out how to 3D print sheets of chainmail. They make giant chainmail for giant sheets of chainmail for covering parking garages and skyscrapers to help keep the heat off. Mailtech is very affordable, full welded micromail. Yes, and I want some, and I want a Neptunic shark suit, and buy my stuff so I can afford things. So there will come a point where someone has a machine that can make any chainmail weave out there, right? Someone's going to make it. And it's just a matter of time. Seems like you're mistaken. That's awesome. I feel like handmade is still better, though. Handmade is... So, for example, I'm making European 4-in-1. I'm making a 45-degree seam. As far as I know, no machine has made a 45-degree seam in with the machine. Right? Not to say it hasn't happened, but hasn't happened as far as I know. This strip of elf weave that I put in here, right? Like, you're going to be hard pressed to find a machine that can switch from one weave to the next without interruption, right? You just want a knapsack of it for your tools and rings to carry? Heck yeah. I mean, I have a butcher's glove. I have no need of a butcher's glove. It's got holes in it, and it was my uncle's grandfather's or uncle's father or something like that. They were just like, oh, you make chainmail? Here, have a chainmail glove. I was like, very cool. I definitely want that. And it's just cool to look at, period. So, yeah. Okay, not from any technical perspective, just the fact that it's handmade feels better to you? Yeah, no, I mean, it's been handmade for like 2,000 years at this point, and we're at this point in civilization where we have the most materials with the most tutorials with the best tools and the most resources for coming up with different things to make out of it. The renaissance of chainmail is going on right now. Walmart socks and gloves of all places, $30 a pair even. That's not bad. You definitely can't get a lot of stuff made from chainmail. You can't get it from a machine, right? But like I said, I don't know how long it's going to last. Someone's going to come up with some way to have a machine do whatever they want. You know, they will 3D print all kinds of stuff, and it is what it is, you know. Much fun, man, heading out. All right, James, I appreciate the tip on trying the 7-day trial. If that works, I'll owe you. It's highly impractical as it would be. I always thought a backpack made a 6-1 would be cool. Heck yeah. And you could do it even, like, if you took the Mailtech welded 4-in-1 and made a backpack out of it and put a liner in it, right? That'd be pretty cool. MIT rock, paper, scissors, hand that can react faster than you and win every game. Retrain for mail and pliers. Yeah, there you go. You're just programming a hand to weave for you. Actually, wait. Someone get me on the phone with MIT right now. I have some stuff that needs to be done around here. I need that hand. What am I making? I am working on a dice bag right now. So, I just got done tearing this apart earlier today, and now I'm putting it all back together, kind of. So I had this whole section made all the way around, and then I tore it apart and added this strip of elf weave in there today. Very cool. Thank you. So I've got these expansions I finished putting in, and now I am sewing up the seams with a 45-degree seam, and AI, no programming, just record with troubleshoot parameters. Yeah. Get that MIT hand to start working for me. All right. There is a, I hope James followed, because like if his tip works where I can do the 7-day trial and get a stream key, that'd be amazing. I would send him something nice, like a hooded blanket or something. That would solve a lot of my problems. Where am I at here? Where'd I go? That's the fun part about working in one color, is constantly losing your spot. All right. Alright, so John, you might know the answer to this. If I hook 2 leads up to my truck battery, my 12-volt truck battery, right? And just connect one end to whatever you're supposed to, whatever it's called that you connect it to, and then the other to this, and throw it in the electrolyte solution. Think that'll anodize it? Is 12 volts enough? Just doing like third world titanium anodization here. Come on. Alright. I don't know how many volts I need to maximize the color. So once this is all done, we're going to anodize it, right? That's been the plan for a while now. I've been going back and forth. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. I'm going to going back and forth over 12 volt will be brown. I don't want brown. I want like 27 volt will get you in to start. So if I... Of real color changes? Okay. So I need 3 car batteries all looped. And then I can... Then I can get somewhere. Yeah, it might just take longer with lower voltage. Okay. So loop together 3 car batteries. That'll give me 36 volts. And throw it in some electrolyte solution. Something's off here. Is that the one? I'm just going to keep going because I will stop and fix that in a minute. Yeah, 9 volt popping seems bad, so let's use car batteries. What am I smoking? I'm trying not to spend any money and yet still anodize this. You can build an AC to DC converter pretty easy and just plug it in. Let's start with my premise of I don't trust myself with electricity. And then go from there. So you say I can build it, but can I? Old PC power supply? I have several of those. By God, by the time we're done, this thing will be anodized. Alright. I don't know what color it's going to be, but it's going to be a different color. No, I still need to... I need to get the anodizer and a couple of the tools that come with it to... for this to work correctly, and then... clean them, tumble it, etch it, anodize it. And then it will have gone from ugly rings that had barbs that I couldn't use for anything else to a technically skilled dice bag that has some pretty color to it. and by technically skilled, I'm not trying to brag, but you don't see too many people putting strips of elf weave in the middle of their 4-in-1. So I'm going to brag about that. Oh. And value with total time spent in your hands makes this value about what? $1 million? $1 million? $1 million. Yes, it's worth $1 million. Someone buy it now. I should just do that with stuff I make. Just post it up on my website for ridiculous prices. Because that'll get people talking. Be like, what's so special about his stuff? He's just trying to rip people off. Then if I do sell one, like one thing, right? Then I make thousands of dollars on that one thing. You don't know how to do elf weave? It's elf weave, interwoven 4-in-1, and Tiffany. Yeah, post on eBay. It's a magical dice bag. You'll roll all nat 20s, guaranteed. So elf weave, interwoven 4-in-1, and Tiffany, I believe. If you look up on the Mail website, the Mail Artisans International League, they're all fairly similar. And the way I do it is I take strips of 1-in-1 chain and connect them together using either the elf weave, interwoven 4-in-1, or Tiffany technique. Right? Alright, so what's going on with these two? Why are they fighting me? That one's... I don't know, this one's fine. You're more of a nat 1 kind of guy? We'll just post to eBay and say that it makes your dice roll exactly what you need at the time. It's worth $1 million. I think something's wrong here. What's going on? That ring I just put in is not sitting pretty. Why? That one through there. Hang on. Something's not working here. I don't know what it is exactly. The seams on the bottom half are supposed to match up with the contractions on the top. They might not all be perfect. Okay. Maybe that was... just needed to adjust that one ring for some reason. Okay. Alright, second to last seam is going pretty good. Oh, I don't know what I screwed up there when I was putting this expansion piece in, but I wove that first ring on the seam and it wasn't sitting right. Unlike all the rest of the seams have gone in pretty well, so I can't complain. I did an okay job if that's, if that's the case, because, well, I'm not 100% certain that this is perfectly woven so far. It's pretty close, right? Like the expansions and contractions are all the same size, and that sheet or that strip of elf weave that I added goes around perfectly. All right. Oh. You just ran out of rings. Time to cut more. Good luck, man. May you cut all the rings that you need, and your cutting blade never go dull. Those cutting rings, I'm starting to work out in my head how I'm going to build my ring cutter. I'm not very good at these things, so this is going to take a little while. Okay, last seam, and then one of these expansions was not... I think I just have to connect these two. One of these expansions was not long enough, right? And then we'll adjust that. Okay, so these rings started out as titanium that had these really bad burrs on them. I crushed up some coffee cups and smushed, threw it all into a tumbler and let it run for like a day. And the ceramic from the coffee cup did quite a good job getting rid of the burrs on these formerly unusable titanium rings, right? And while they are pretty good, right, they're not really suitable for jewelry, which is what I was going to use them for when I ordered them. So it's like, yes, this is just a dice bag. However, there is probably $50 to $70 worth of materials in it by the time we're done. You have 2 coils to cut, and you'll have to spend a chunk of tomorrow coiling rings. What kind of setup do you have, Cheap and Jamber? You got like a Pepe tool, or you hand cutting with some Knipex bolt cutters? Just a drill and a mandrel for coiling, or like a drill and a specific blade? Now, I was looking at ringinators and other setups and Pepe tools, and they all use that round disc blade. And I've heard multiple people complain about having to get blades for them when they're cutting. So that is something I want to address when building out a ring cutter. Hand cutting with Ace Hardware mini bowl cutter. There you go. I gotcha. I've done that. I don't envy you at all. Is this the row that's one row short? Okay, that's the last seam, and then are they both short? How'd that happen? Malco 144 TPI ½ ID arbor blades 1.5 2 inch to 0 10 thousandths thick. Your dowel's a little less than 5/16 stainless steel. Yeah, that's one of those circular disc blades, right? Oh, wow, that broke. I want something that doesn't use the circular disc blades. I don't want to fight people for them. I don't want to rely on them. I don't want to wait until they shatter. Six gauge wire. The galvanized shirt I have is 14 gauge 3/8 galvanized fence wire, and I made a Euro 6-in-1 shirt out of it with shitty sleeves, and it was just a bad job all around, right? So alright. This is all stuck together. On some of these expansions we were a ring short in our counting, which, like I said, it's as perfect, it's as close to perfect as I can make it, right? That's a common blade most folks use. You buy mine from manufacturer. Laser, EDM, wire feed, and water jet are other ways, but not ones you've seen cheap. Yeah, no. Well, I sent you the link to the water jet machine, the tabletop water jet machine. How thin does a bandsaw blade get? Is that thin enough? Part of you wishes you hadn't chosen such a small ring ID. 16 gauge 5/16 isn't that small. It's a good size for a shirt. I have a bunch of that I'm going to use for a coif for my son. I got 16 gauge 5/16 aluminum, anodized aluminum, and stainless steel. It's like the rings I'm working with are 20 gauge 1/8 of an inch. So I wouldn't want to be making a shirt out of these. Totally should though. Use 1/4 inch and 1/5 16 gauge for shirts yourself. Yeah, but it's taking forever. I believe you. I 100% believe you. There's plenty of projects I have that are taking forever, literal decades, and it's like, ugh. I don't want to pick it back up, but also it can't sit here for forever. So I need to finish it. Do all the things I need to do to get her done, and alright, looks like we're still going. I don't know, maybe we might be frozen on TikTok, but not the end of the world. We're almost done here anyway. What I should do, buy the anodizer, and then just buy a bunch of different chainmail titanium rings, or make my own, and start doing a bunch of anodizing on stream. TikTok's not frozen? Okay. It wasn't my computer wasn't showing, it was just showed it frozen. But I didn't stick around long enough to see if it was not frozen, because I took everything off the landline and put it on Wi-Fi, and it's seemingly been working, so it's going to work until it doesn't work again, and then we'll figure something else out if we have to. Knock on wood. Okay. Broke another ring. That happens, but not often. Come on. I think I'd never done this before. Pliers slipping all over the place. Alright. So I was a little irritated at myself for taking this all apart earlier, but now that I can... What did I just do? Now that I can see where my idea come to fruition, where I have that rigidity in the neck of this dice bag, I'm a lot happier with it. So I'm glad I tore it apart. It did take all day, but we are pretty much all caught up. We're a little beyond caught up from where we were last night, so we didn't get a lot done, but it is better. I do have a bag I am working on where the seams are... The bag is European 4-in-1 and the seams are... I think they're elf weave. And it's pretty cool. Need to finish that one. We'll do that on stream too, coming up soon, at some point. And they're huge rings too, so you can really see everything. Okay. I think all of these are officially sewn up now. I'll have to do a ring count tomorrow. We should have gone from 48 rings on around the neck of this piece here. Should have gone from 48 to 102. Right? And if we did that, then that means that what we did worked. Right? And we did it correctly. Mostly. Okay. There is the top of this bad boy. I've been sitting down here for way too long today. I actually don't know how much I'm going to get done tomorrow because I'm probably not going to be able to move. Alright. Close that up for now. All right. Okay, so this beautiful piece, that lovely strip of elf weave right in the middle there. I wish that I could anodize it like as is, like tape off the top and bottom, just anodize that elf weave stitch or strip of elf weave. Right, so this goes from, what's the dimensions, 3 inches to 4.5. So we figured earlier. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4.5. So from 3 inches to 4.5 with a nice neck installed to help just make the top of this more like a cap. Right, that's, if it was just E4 in one, it would be loose and unstructured like this down here, but that strip of elf weave holds it in place, kind of, right? It's not going to be perfect, but anyway, it is beyond time for me to get ready for tonight, finish up and close shop down. Thank you everyone for hanging out. I do appreciate it. Be sure to check out the Mailworks app in the link tree and mailworks.com where you can find all your chainmail themed apparel and accessories. And I will be back on later. I'm gonna be hurting tomorrow after weaving all day today. So you all have a wonderful evening, and I will talk to you all later. All right, you guys.